I'll never forget the sound. My photo ID, tossed carelessly, skittering across the marble floor of a bank lobby that suddenly felt colder than any winter I'd ever known. All those eyes, employees, customers, people in business suits, just staring, their silence pressing down on me so hard I could hardly breathe. In that moment, it hit me. One single act of disrespect, a plastic card thrown at my feet, was about to unravel a $2 billion partnership and everything I'd built to prove I belonged. Let me tell you what really happened, because the headlines never catch the small details that cut the deepest. My name's Simone Carter, and I'm the founder and CEO of Carter Engineering. On that sweltering afternoon, I walked into Grandway Bank's main branch downtown. My shoes were scuffed. Sure, when you're building a business from the ground up, new shoes don't come first. But my suit was pressed. My contract was ironclad, and my patience was what you'd call legendary. Or at least I thought it was, until that day. As soon as I stepped in, it was like being hit by two climates at once. The air conditioning on full blast, soft piano music trying to sound welcoming, sunlight pouring through huge windows and bouncing off every polished surface. I stood a little straighter, holding on to the confidence that I'd earned every bit of respect in this place. But respect, it turned out, is rationed. I went to the first teller, a young woman named Tiffany, hair curled just so, white blouse practically gleaming under the lights. She never looked up, not once. I stood there long enough to start counting my own heartbeats, then finally cleared my throat and greeted her. Voice low but steady. Nothing. Not even a nod. Just the tap, tap, tap of acrylic nails on her keyboard. Then a white guy in a designer suit walked up behind me, and the transformation was instant. Her smile snapped on like a light switch. "Hi, Mr. Collins. Let me get you checked in." "Sir?" She actually stood up. I guess I could have laughed at how obvious it was if I hadn't been so busy holding my ground. When she finally turned to me, her face was all business, cold, flat, like I was asking her for a favor I didn't deserve. I tried to keep it simple. "Good afternoon. I'd like to deposit a certified check into my company account and check on a transaction." She didn't answer, just stared at my ID as if it were a puzzle she'd rather not solve. "Do you have an appointment?" she snapped, still not making eye contact. "No, but I've banked here for years," I explained. "This isn't an advisory visit, just a routine deposit." Tiffany sighed, barely concealing her annoyance, then motioned to a side lane with the flick of a single finger. I could feel her judgment in the way she pointed, like I'd already failed some invisible test. I moved to the indicated window, and when my turn came, I placed my ID and the check down gently, willing my hands not to shake. Tiffany picked up my card between two fingers, like it was sticky, or covered in something she wanted to wash off. She squinted at the photo, lips pursed. Then, without a word, she tossed it on the ground. Just like that. Plastic scraping on stone, echoing way louder than it had any right to. Every conversation stopped. No one said a thing. I felt my face flush hot. My jaw clenched so tight it hurt. I bent down, picked up my ID with as much dignity as I could muster, and locked eyes with her. I didn't say a word, but the message was clear. I wasn't leaving, and I wasn't bowing my head. Still, the damage was done. I was supposed to be invisible, and for a moment, I almost wished I was. Instead, I made my way to the reception area, looking for some kind of explanation. The receptionist, a red-haired woman named Cheryl, all soft colors and fashion glasses, didn't even glance up when I greeted her. "Excuse me, could you please—" I tried, but she shot up a perfectly manicured hand, palm out, not even dignifying me with words, just a gesture. "Wait!" The message was obvious. I didn't matter here. 2 minutes later, a white couple in summer suits walked in. Cheryl's face changed instantly. She was glowing. "Welcome back, Mr. and Mrs. Lewis. Right on time. Please go right through." VIP passes appeared out of nowhere, smiles all around. I stood off to the side, trying to swallow the taste of humiliation and bitterness, staring down at my battered ID and certified check. And yet, I waited. I could have left, but I refused. That was their trick. Freeze you out. Make you question yourself until you slink away. I'd been in too many rooms like this, feeling too many eyes sliding over me, deciding if I looked successful enough to be here. I started to wonder, am I being too sensitive? Did I miss some rule? Maybe I should just leave quietly, keep the peace, let it go. But as I watched another teller, Michelle, lean across her window to greet a new customer with a big smile, one that was never for me, I realized this wasn't just about me. It was about every black woman who's ever stood in a room like this, being told without words that she didn't belong. I forced myself back to Tiffany's counter, this time a little stronger. "Here is the certified check from my partner. Please deposit into Carter Engineering's operating account." Tiffany took it, if you could call what she did taking. She inspected the check like she'd never seen one before, frowning. "Where's your business license? What's your headquarters address? This is a large sum. You know." Her voice was laced with sarcasm, and every question was sharper than the last. "Why'd you choose us? Are you sure this is a real check?" I answered, one question at a time, watching her eyes dart from my thrift store shoes to my simple purse and back up, cataloging every flaw. When I insisted she check the paperwork, her lips curled. She leaned to the teller beside her, Ben, who had been listening the whole time, and Stage whispered, "Doesn't this look fake to you? This is exactly the kind of stuff we have to watch for." He smirked and nodded. A couple of customers chuckled under their breath. By now, I felt like a circus act, every move watched, every word doubted, my patience bleeding out by the second. Still, I held the line. "I expect you to verify the transaction like you would for anyone else," I said, voice steady but cold. Tiffany rolled her eyes, but finally started punching in numbers. I could see her going slow on purpose. That's when the branch manager showed up. A big man, maybe mid-50s, with a name tag that read Edward Harris. He didn't greet me, just shot Tiffany a look. "Problem here?" he asked, tone clipped. Tiffany's whole attitude shifted. Suddenly, she was the helpful employee, explaining concerns over my paperwork and red flags. Edward barely looked at me. "With this much uncertainty, I'm afraid we can't process your transaction. We need to protect the bank and our clients." I took a deep breath, fighting to keep my voice from trembling. "Sir, I've provided everything your process requires. I'm Carter Engineering's CEO. We just signed a partnership with Grandway worth over $2 billion. He sized me up, unimpressed. "If you're unsatisfied, perhaps another bank would be a better fit." Just like that. No apology. No second look. His footsteps echoed across the floor as he walked away. Behind me, I heard Tiffany's final parting shot, loud enough for everyone to hear. "Honestly, this isn't the kind of business we expect here. You might be more comfortable somewhere else." Ben grinned. A couple of younger employees exchanged knowing glances, and the entire lobby became a stage for my humiliation. I'll admit it, right then. I almost walked out. I stared at the doors, the sunshine outside calling my name, promising escape. But my feet wouldn't move. I wasn't just angry. I was tired. Tired of people assuming my worth could be measured by my skin, my clothes, or their own ignorance. So I picked up my things, locked eyes with Tiffany, and whispered, "You'll remember this moment long after I'm gone, and next time, it won't be me feeling small." I left, my dignity ragged but alive, my mind reeling with anger, shame, and the kind of resolve that only comes when you've been pushed too far. That night, sitting at my desk, surrounded by contracts and proof, I decided I wasn't going to disappear quietly. Not for a check, not for a deal, not for anyone's comfort. The next morning, I showed up in my sharpest suit, heels polished so hard they almost glinted. I marched straight to the front, handed my CEO business card to Cheryl. She froze, scanned the card, and for a moment, her face cracked. "Wait here, please." Less than a minute later, Edward Harris appeared, all forced politeness and thinly veiled anxiety. "Ms. Carter, I didn't realize—" I stopped him. "I'm not here for apologies. I'm here because your bank is about to lose a contract bigger than this entire branch, unless you address what happened yesterday." We went into his office. I laid out the documents, proof of the partnership, confirmation from their own board. Edward's face turned pale. "Miss Carter, I wasn't aware." I cut him off, voice clear and ice cold. "I gave you everything you needed, and you chose to see only what you wanted. Unless this is fixed immediately, Grandway can consider our contract void." Before I left, I made sure he understood. I wouldn't be waiting for their decision. Within hours, my phone rang. Grandway's regional VP, Linda Marks, wanted to see me. In her conference room, surrounded by city views and polished glass. I told her everything. She flipped through the contracts, saw my name right next to hers, and for the first time that week, I saw real shock, real fear in someone's eyes. "Ms. Carter, this is unacceptable. Thank you for bringing it directly to me." Linda didn't waste a second. An internal investigation launched. Security footage was pulled. Every employee called in. Tiffany, once smug and untouchable, sat trembling before a committee as the video played, the ID tossed, the sneers, the whispered insults. She tried to stammer an excuse. No one believed her. Ben's laughter, Michelle's side comments, even Edward's dismissal, every bit was exposed and dissected. By the end of that day, Tiffany was fired. Ben was suspended pending mandatory retraining. Michelle was written up, forced into diversity education. Edward Harris, the manager who'd looked through me, was demoted and transferred to a back office somewhere his authority wouldn't do more harm. Cheryl handed in her resignation. Grandway sent out an all-tooled staff bulletin, "Zero tolerance for discrimination, period." As I walked out of that bank the final time, I didn't look back. I didn't need to. The silence that followed wasn't awkward or shameful anymore. It was the hush that comes after a storm. When people finally realize what they've lost by clinging to their comfort and their bias. Tiffany left with her box of things, her eyes red and fixed on the floor. Edward didn't meet anyone's gaze, shrinking behind a closed door. And everyone who'd ever looked past me now had to look inward. No applause, no confetti, just the sound of quiet justice settling over the lobby. Heavy and final. I walked outside, letting the sunlight hit my face, and realized I'd reclaimed something far more valuable than money. Sometimes, dignity is won not by what you say, but by standing your ground when everyone hopes you'll walk away. There's one thing I know for sure. When you let the world decide your worth, you lose. But when you face down their judgment and refuse to flinch, you remind them who really sets the terms. And that, no matter where you come from, is what it means to battle for respect. That's the kind of story we tell right here at JR.